Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back. Our guest today is Nicholas Tartaglia. Nick is the founder of the former New Gen Mindset podcast focused on wealth and sovereignty. He is a macro analyst and behavioral economist. One of his books is called The Intelligent Millennial. Welcome back to the show, Nick.
Hey, Ivan, how are you?
I'm doing really good. Silver just is breaking out right now. We just hit $35 silver yesterday, and it's almost touching $36 right now. How significant is this, Nick, and will it propel higher, or are we going to get a smackdown here soon?
So what was interesting to watch was basically when Trump came into office, I feel like the price of precious metals kind of went sideways. They stagnated, but I think the main reason why they went sideways and stagnated was because we weren't understanding the totality of the impact of Trump's presidency officially back in office, in the sense that one, would he actually bring back the world into a point of equilibrium and peace? Clearly, we're witnessing that even though there was supposed to be peace in with Israel and in Palestine, the war is back at it. So that peace didn't last very long. And same thing happened when Russia and Ukraine. We thought that peace would come there, but that hasn't really been stopped. It has reignited again. And
Yeah.
at the same time, we've seen a conflict arise in Asia that was something that nobody was really expecting. For example, India and Pakistan, there's tension there escalating heavily. They almost went at it. And then that kind of got stopped. But you're also now seeing tension in Cambodia and Thailand and other places, which is opening the gate to the potentiality for Taiwan to really be opened up for Russia, for China to make their move. So in this environment, we thought one, there would be peace, a little bit more equilibrium. And the second thing was, would Trump actually decrease spending and decrease the deficit? And with the bill that we just saw passing they wanted to pass last week, is the big beautiful bill, which a lot of people are now referring to as the big ugly bill, is because clearly he's not doing that. Even he's showing the hypocrisy in the political system, that even though he criticized the debt limit being increased, the increase
Right.
in deficit spending and the increase in spending as a whole, he himself is repeating the exact same pattern. So clearly that is a consequence that is rippling and showing itself in the prices of the metals again. And then you had the rating system, Moody's come out, downgrade the bonds of America. And then you have Jamie Dimon coming on talking about it. And now you have this conflict between Trump and Elon. So I think that there's a lot of things that we've been waiting on that has actually flourished, that has come to pass in the way that we did not expect it to. And these are the things that are important to the precious metal space: more spending, more government, more debt, more conflict, and all these things are showing itself, and the prices are moving back in the direction we wanted to.
Absolutely, Nick. And with so many people and so many countries spending more on debt, more on debt interest than actual education and health, do you think we're heading towards a global debt crisis? What would that mean for the everyday person?
I think so. So typically, like for example, we saw the big beautiful bill, right? They say, okay, well, we're going to decrease taxes, but we're going to increase spending. So there's a lesson from Milton Friedman, is that regardless of what you do on the tax front, always look at debt. That is what the citizen at the end of the day owes. So you can either directly tax me as a citizen, or you can indirectly inflate the economy away, which is another way to take money from the everyday citizen. So if Trump seeks to decrease taxes, by all means, go ahead. But the consequence is that inflation is going to be the only mechanism by which that the government of the United States will be able to manage their debt load. And then what we're seeing in Europe is we're seeing the reindustrialization of the military complex, which is something fascinating, that people are repeating the same issues from the early 20th century, where Europe had to industrialize militarily in order to kind of revitalize their economy. And this regression you're seeing in Europe, the only way they're going to come back out of it again is the reindustrialization of the military complex. And that's going to come with inflation. It might not be in the short term, but you're going to see it very soon enough, because there's always a lag to the system. So the only thing that's going to help the only thing that's going to help, well, by my help, I mean the government and through their perspective, is inflation, because that's the only way they're going to get to inflate and boost the economy up. They need inflation. It is the only thing. So citizens around the world are going to have to deal with more inflation. It's going to eventually come back. So everybody's, this is why you're seeing the central banks pause interest rates or continue to lower it, because they think that everything's backed. But the thing is, if you look on a long enough cycle, you're seeing that the frequency in which the inflationary cycles are moving up and down are shortening. and you're getting jolts of inflation that are slowing, jolts of inflation, and the frequency at which they're happening are occurring at quicker and quicker. So I think the issue we have to face and really think about right now is the consequence of inflation coming back and how that's going to further create internal division among political parties within Europe and within North America.
And what are your thoughts, I guess, on this feud between Elon and Trump? One day
Mhm.
they're completely together and it looks like they're united. Now it looks like Elon is calling out Trump for the big beautiful bill, or the bill that's just bringing in 2.5 trillion in debt, or just a ridiculous amount of more debt. Ultimately, what do you think about that? And in my mind, I always go back to, oh, no president actually controls central banks. They don't actually run the country. Like the central banks really are the ones who run the country. Like, what are your thoughts on that between Elon and Trump?
So I think it's sad because honestly, from a well, it's sad to see that the ideals of which by which they came together to kind of bring this momentum on the Republican Party is kind of dissipating. And it's sad because at the same time, it is if the Republican Party begins to fall apart, they lose their momentum. And if they lose their momentum, the pendulum swings back to the Democratic side.
Yeah,
If we do that, we both know that debt and spending is even more consequential with them because they will spend even greater amounts because they live in an absolute fairy tale world. It's sad to see Trump criticize the very things that he's pushing through his big, beautiful bill.
right.
Kevin O'Leary saying that from a small business perspective and from a tax perspective, they need this bill. Sure, I get that point. But the thing is, you're arguing from an individual, you're arguing from a special interest point of view, not from a general macroeconomic view or not from a fundamental point of view, which is, the foundational of the economy on which these businesses, these people operate are the most important thing. And I think the feud is, well, one, some people are saying that it's kind of like this theatrical game they're playing to indirectly be able to squash the big beautiful bill without Trump actually having to reveal that that's what he wants to do.
Right.
That's what speculation people are playing out there. But I can't go off that kind of speculation because I have to go off people are doing. Trump supports it. He even criticized Massey. Massey's a libertarian on the Republican Party who, since the beginning, criticized the bill, and they came out criticizing Massey. So I think Trump truly does want this bill, and I think that he's kind of going back against his words of reverting or decreasing spending and deficit. And I think that them no longer being this team is going to potentially be the end of this party if they don't somehow find another way to kind of come back together. Because Doge was this big effort that Elon wanted, right? To increase the government expenditure and make it more efficient. And what Trump is doing is basically derailing his entire project.
Hmm.
So if it's a facade, if it's a theatrical game, I don't know. But what we do know is debt is going to go up, deficit is going to go up, and the Republican Party is kind of imploding right now.
And now a message from our sponsor, Juggernaut Exploration.
One of the more exciting ones, I think, is Juggernaut. I know some people say, well, lightning can't strike twice, and but look, I think one of the things you got to reflect on is that the some of the guys who work here at Juggernaut are some of the same geologists that basically found and have now advanced sherbet at Goliath, okay, over the past years. So they have a very different way of thinking about exploration in the Golden Triangle than most other geologists, okay? And they've gone out and they've identified what could be another sherbet type target here. And the size of these veins is absolutely jaw dropping. My hunch is these guys are onto something pretty special.
The link in the description is right below for Juggernaut Exploration. Now back to the episode. Yeah, and the left can use this as the fuel to their fire and be like, oh, look, we told you so. Elon is even calling out Trump now, and they were so together, and they can use that, change the perception in the American public. And in a world where governments can print more and more money, Nick, but they can't create more gold or silver. Do you believe right at this moment precious metals will become even more important for protecting wealth in the future? Why or why not?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. And I see it everywhere. I see it from interview channels, big YouTube channels. I see it from a cultural standpoint. People are more intrigued and curious by the precious metal. People that you never thought would buy it are buying it. There's Piers Morgan from England, from England, he himself on his show, he now has advertisements to buy gold and
Oh,
silver.
no way,
Uh,
really?
exactly. So you're seeing a ton of crazy, like I watch a lot of high-end jewelry channels that have like millions of views, and they're really more in the jewelry and Rolex market and the collectible market. And these guys are preaching gold and silver left and right now, like never before. It's like
Nice.
from a cultural standpoint, you are starting to see that pendulum move to the side of precious metals to understand the consequences of debt and spending because that's what the primary face of people's mind now. Look at all the debt, look at all the spending. It's not what we want. That was a major issue for Republicans, which kind of seems that Trump is failing on. And at a cultural front standpoint, you're seeing the pendulum move that way that people want it. So I think that you're getting there, especially on the silver side, which is the poor man's gold, because it's so cheap, you can buy so much of it. And I think silver, especially, is still a really big buy. If you've been buying gold since the low 2000s or earlier, in terms of American dollar standpoint, or sorry, in terms of Canadian dollars, it's kind of hard to see yourself wanting to buy gold at double the value. But silver is especially really cheap. But I think there's still plenty of upside on gold, especially with all the chaos and more debt and all that stuff. So I think it's coming. It's just a matter of patience.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Nick, before you go, I really want people to connect with you. It's such a pleasure having you come on, but where can people connect with you before you head off?
So you guys can find me on Substack. I have a macro insights report. You can find me on Instagram at Nick Tartaglia, as well on LinkedIn and on Twitter. And I'm restarting my YouTube channel, which will be called Imperial Mind Economics. Where I'll be taking, I do analysis and reaction content on monetary series, on political debates, just to kind of, rediscover economics so people can actually understand what's going on, not from a political lens, but from an economic and behavioral lens.
Absolutely. I'm super excited for that, and I'll put the links in the description below. Everyone watching this, I highly recommend please go follow Nick's work. And as the market develops and as silver prices either go up or down, and the precious metals in the whole, I'd love to have you back on, Nick.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.